First Alert Weather Extra as Idalia continues to weaken and is now a post-tropical cyclone. Find out how affected states are beginning the cleanup process.
And how one Alabama group is working together with state leaders to prepare for future natural disasters.
Plus, an innovative new way to fight wildfires in California.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Welcome into First Alert Weather Extra. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan.
And I'm meteorologist Tania Michelle. And what a beautiful Thursday it has been,
Oh
Lauren.
my goodness, Tania. It has been so nice here in Alabama. I see you're not wearing the boots today, though.
I said appearance. They made an appearance.
Okay, they did. They made, just kind of sprinkling them in before we go full
Testing
force.
them out, see if they still work.
And you know, Tania, today is the last day of meteorological summer.
Oh.
I know.
I'm not missing it, though. Go ahead, Bob.
It's funny. We sit back in our weather office all day, and we've had several managers just come up for random things, and they're like, man, it's hot back here. We're like, we know. Yeah, it gets real stuffy back in that weather office.
So we're appreciating these cooler temperatures.
We are. We are definitely appreciating it. The fan wasn't quite on full blast for today, but hey, we are going to need that fan on full blast going into next week,
Absolutely.
Right, Tania?
Back in the 90s, Lauren. Let's get ready.
Yeah, it's coming. And of course, we've got plenty to focus on in terms of Idalia and the impact it's had across the southeast, even up into the mid-Atlantic. Let's focus first on an update on Idalia. Right now, it is a post-tropical cyclone. You're like, that's a lot of words. What does that mean? Well, when you have a tropical system, it has certain characteristics associated with it. But Idalia is now back over the Atlantic, and it's taken on some characteristics that doesn't necessarily mean it's a purely tropical system anymore. So right now, it has 65-mile-per-hour winds, still pretty strong, still packing a punch even as it moves over the Atlantic. But check out the path of Idalia. It's not necessarily going away anytime soon. It's moving away from the U.S., but you can see it's going to actually move over Bermuda as a post-tropical cyclone as we go into the weekend. So Bermuda already had a brush with Franklin earlier this week, and now it could be seeing the potential for more rough surf, the potential for more heavy rain and tropical storm force winds. And then Idalia goes back out to sea, likely strengthening again. It'll be going farther north in the Atlantic, so won't be a true tropical system. But that's why we're calling it post-tropical cyclone, because it's gone through that tropical process. Now it has some different characteristics to it. It's moving very quickly to the east at 21 miles per hour. So as far as Idalia goes, you know, this has probably been one of the more potent systems, the most potent system we've seen in the U.S. so far this year. But we are just getting into the peak of hurricane season, which is on September 10th. So right now we are at August 31st. We've got still a good couple weeks here before we get to the peak of hurricane season on September 10th. But you can still get systems in October, as we've seen in the past with storms like Opal and Michael. Right now, though, very quiet across central Alabama. There are some storms down to the south, though, so we're going to be keeping an eye on those as we go into the overnight hours, especially if you're going to be traveling down to the beach for Labor Day weekend. But we'll have more on Idalia coming up right now. Tania?
Lauren, see, Hurricane Idalia is now a post-tropical cyclone, as you have mentioned, and after cutting a path through Florida's Big Bend on Wednesday, all the way to the Carolinas overnight into this morning, the system continues to push into the Atlantic, mainly the western Atlantic right now, but people are waking up to find some communities changed forever. Ivan Rodriguez reports.
Throughout the day, we've seen city workers come and make sure that the roads are clear so that, one, the power outages can be restored by those crews working around the clock to get power back to so many people, including a number of businesses here. Business owners have returned to look at the damage and start the cleanup process. Tropical storm Idalia tearing a path across the southeast.
It was quite a storm. It was a bad one.
Pummeling Georgia and the Carolinas with high winds, torrential rain, and flash flooding Wednesday night into Thursday morning. After slamming Florida's Big Bend Wednesday as a Category 3 hurricane.
These are all little old school Florida villas, and they were just picked up and carried into the Gulf.
Downing trees, tearing roofs off buildings and flooding homes as the sea surged onto shore. leaving entire communities underwater.
Crystal River was decimated. We had 8 feet of storm surge come inside of City Hall.
The damage likely changing some of those communities forever.
There are some communities that may never look the same and others that will get rebuilt that will look slightly different. And so, look, this is a life-changing event.
Some residents left shaken.
It's pretty rough. We never seen anything like it before.
And heartbroken.
And it hurt because I raised my kids up in this trailer.
As the storm moves offshore, the extent of the damage can be assessed and the journey to recovery can begin.
I was really sad, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but, this is a beautiful town. The people are wonderful, and I hate seeing my people go through something like this.
Oh, yeah, it's so devastating to see all the destruction from the storm. Idalia also left significant damage across the southeast from Georgia to South Carolina. It pushed water levels in Charleston, South Carolina's harbor past 9 feet. It also brought a tornado which picked up a car and flipped it over, oh my goodness, while it cut across a South Carolina highway. All caught on a dash camera. Take a look at this video right here. Heavy rain also brought extreme flooding in Georgia, strong winds picking up trees from their roots. Idalia's rain and wind traveled more than 600 miles from Central Florida to North Carolina.
And Tennille, one of the hardest hit communities in the southeast was Lowndes County in South Georgia. That's actually where my hometown Valdosta is. Take a look at some of the images I've been getting in from friends and family back home. Valdosta, if you aren't familiar with it, has a lot of pine trees. It's just to the west of the Okefenokee Swamp. So you've got an area that can get easily very saturated by any bit of rain. And so you had a lot of rain with Idalia, an estimated 7 to 9 inches from parts of North Florida to South Georgia. And so you've got tons of tall pine trees in this area. And so a lot of what we saw with that damage that has been across the Valdosta area has been because of those trees that have been moving through, or the trees that fell. And fortunately, from what I've heard, there haven't been necessarily any injuries or casualties, but there are a lot of trees that have fallen on people's house. And as we look at where Idalia made landfall, you've got where it made landfall in Keaton Beach. This was 6:45 yesterday morning. Valdosta is in South Georgia, right here. I've always said it's the last step on I-75 before you get to Disney World. And so you'll notice here, at least in Georgia, you'll notice that it's right on that Florida-Georgia line. See the northern eye wall here? Even as Idalia was beginning to move inland, it was beginning to lose the southern half of the eye wall. But the most intense part of the storm that was still remaining as it went inland was this remnant northern eye wall. When you have an eye wall, that's where you're going to get the most powerful winds within sight of a storm and sometimes the heaviest rain. And that's what happened. It made a beeline for Valdosta and slammed the city. And the city is known, actually, it's been designated as a Tree City USA because the pine trees in that area are just so abundant. So you have saturated ground, you have hurricane force winds coming through. The last wind that was actually recorded at the Valdosta airport was a 67-mile-per-hour gust, which is technically still tropical storm force. But the problem is Idalia took out the weather instrument, so you weren't able to get a gauge of just how strong the winds were. And Idalia made landfall as a Category 3. It was a Category 4 right before making landfall and eventually weakened just a little bit. But it looks like Idalia actually came through Valdosta as a Category 2 storm. So unfortunately, 97% of the community is still without power in Lowndes County. So I'll be keeping you guys updated, may even have to go check in on my mom at some point, but everyone is safe. It's going to be a long road to recovery though. Well, still ahead on First Alert Weather Extra, if you're traveling to the beach this weekend, you may want to bring an umbrella. Mickey Ferguson has your Gulf Coast forecasts.
And also ahead, take a look at these headlines. Coming up, we're talking about those scattered showers and storms on the return for your Friday. More of Idalia and how much the damage is going to cost. And we'll take a look at a Panda birthday celebration, Lauren. That sounds like so much fun. We'll have all these details for you right here on First Alert Weather Extra.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into Good Day, Alabama.
A new morning comes with preparing right, because while you slept, news broke.
We have new information from that breaking news that happened this morning.
While you head out, the storm we gave you the first alert for is on its way in. And as the key turns the ignition, your shorter route to work is being found.
Avoid 459 southbound completely because of a crash.
A new morning means everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama, always on your side.
The first alert traffic you need to get you there safe and on time. Tomorrow morning, everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama.
You're late, out the door, and on the go. Don't worry.
Good Day Alabama continues all morning long.
And wherever you watch, this is what you need to know right now.
More reporters on the streets with more hours of news when you need it. Everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama. Knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Even though Idalia is back over the Atlantic, the system is expected to affect Labor Day travel plans, with many airports having cancellations and delays. Some passengers waited for hours at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta as storms passed through the state, and Florida as well on Wednesday, with some flights having to be rerouted completely. One family had to wait for 6 hours as they were flying from South Florida to Israel. As of this evening, Idalia is now a post-tropical cyclone
And some Florida pilots are now in Tuscaloosa. Hurricane Idalia forcing them to relocate to safety. The pilots, several of them, flight instructors from the Orlando area, parked at least 7 small planes at the Tuscaloosa airport. One pilot says it took about 2 hours to get here away from the storm.
It was more of a just for safe measures to travel. It was pretty smooth for the most part. There were some thunderstorms that we had to navigate around.
We're told Tuscaloosa is often a safe haven for pilots to get away from any storm on the coast. That's great because it's far enough inland and doesn't cost pilots a fortune to fly in. And despite the widespread destruction from Idalia, recovering from the storm might not cost as much as it has with similar hurricanes. See, according to Moody Analytics, it could cost anywhere from $12 to $20 billion in damage, which is still a lot, but this is compared to Hurricane Ian last year, which cost more than $112 billion. Ian was the third costliest U.S. hurricane on record. Research also says that due to Idalia making landfall in a less populated area and moving quickly helped keep damage costs a little bit lower, along with lower property values. Lauren?
Thanks, Tania. Well, over on the West Coast, smoke-sniffing drones could be the future in fighting wildfires in California. Marley Ginter reports.
When a wildfire breaks out, early detection is key in stopping it from spreading.
Once it grows, it's out of control. It's very difficult.
CAL FIRE's goal is to get on scene quickly and contain 95% of all fires to just 10 acres or less. Now, drones may be the latest technology that help detect wildland blazes as soon as they break out.
We're going to have a swarm of them.
A team of mechanical aerospace engineers at UC Davis are building these drones.
The official name is an octocopter.
Equipped with detectors that can sniff out smoke.
We have sensors for particulate matter, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide.
They say it works much like a search dog's nose.
You track the sense, and then you track the sense, and you'll figure out that you eventually get to the location of the wildfire.
The onboard air samplers are so sensitive, they can detect smoke before it becomes visible to cameras or the human eye.
Even down to the nanomoles, like very small amounts.
The drone can then follow the trail to pinpoint the precise origin of the fire and quickly alert firefighters.
Our hope is basically we can catch or detect the wildfire as early as possible. And that means that the damage caused by wildfire will be minimized.
And with the potential to protect millions of dollars worth of property, the drones are actually pretty economical.
And the whole thing is about $2,000.
The engineers have been working with CAL FIRE, experimenting with the drones on several prescribed burns, and so far, they've seen success.
You need to show them that it works, and then you can gradually incorporate this into their workflow.
Now, the drones do have limited flight times, meaning they would only be launched during times of high fire danger. Well, the Alabama Resilience Council is now in place to help state agencies work together with the goal to protect lives and property before a natural disaster strikes. Governor Ivey signed the order to establish that council in May. It includes dozens of organizations like the Emergency Management Agency and the Department of Insurance. Insurance Commissioner Mark Fowler says the group will be beneficial for more than just natural disasters.
We can also work in areas that are not necessarily natural disasters, but what we would call harmful society impacts and dangerous circumstances that affects a cyber attack, a health scare, those kind of things. The same principles would work to prepare in advance and just so you can withstand it better and recover quicker.
Commissioner Fowler says the group plans to meet every 2 months. Well, coming up next on First Alert Weather Extra, we take a deep dive into that Labor Day weekend forecast. And y'all know we love our animals here on Weather Extra. We have some cute animal stories tonight, and we also check back in with Mickey Ferguson. We'll be right back. But first, here's the almanac.
We heard the first alert. Mom says we have to go. She says I don't have time to grab any more toys.
Need to be in your tornado safe place. Get there right now as you have.
We have to get to our safe place because sometimes when you hear the siren, it's too late. That's why she says knowing first is everything.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team always on your side.
The First Alert is more than a warning. It's a promise. A promise to get you out of harm's way with plenty of time to spare. 4 walls and a roof can be replaced. Lives can't. That's why knowing first is everything. First Alert weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. Meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Labor Day weekend is almost upon us, and if you look at this forecast, not terrible as we go into the holiday weekend. Now, we do have a 20% chance of the possibility of a few showers on Saturday, mainly areas to the south and west where there likely will be a better chance of rain with that little disturbance hanging around, and then looking drier for Sunday. And Labor Day doesn't look awfully hot either day. If you're like Tania, this may mean you break out the boots for Labor Day weekend. But I know what a lot of people are excited about this weekend, like meteorologist Matt Daniel. College football is back. So tonight, we actually just had the Sanford game kick off about an hour ago, but we also have the Jacksonville State game. This is going to be Saturday home game, and then in Nashville, Alabama A&M taking on Vanderbilt Saturday evening. And then we also have Tuskegee with Fort Valley State in town. So this will be over in Montgomery, with temperatures for most of the games not looking too bad. It doesn't look like we're going to see anything in the way of storms. Of course, everyone wants to know about Alabama and Auburn. UAB playing this evening, but let's check ahead to Saturday for Alabama and Auburn, and Tuscaloosa kickoff at 6:30 on Saturday night. I mentioned there was a better chance for a few pop-up storms on Saturday to the south and west, so maybe somewhere like Tuscaloosa County could see that over in T-Town, but I still think rain chances are going to be fairly low, and temperature shouldn't be too unbearable. Again, there's going to be a little bit of moisture around on Friday and Saturday with this disturbance nearby. But as far as Auburn, kicking it off at Jordan Hare Stadium, Jordan Hare Stadium, let me make sure I get that right. Y'all gonna come for me if I get that wrong. At 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, and still doesn't look like the rain chances are going to be too bad there either. But checking out our Super 7-day forecast here, we did mention, a chance of maybe some isolated showers and storms on Saturday, but I do want to note tomorrow we could see a better chance of scattered showers and storms with a little disturbance that's going to be around. So tonight we'll actually see an increase in cloud cover, and then as we go into Friday, maybe just a stray shower in the morning. Notice though, one of our Futurecast models is picking up here on the possibility of some widely scattered showers and storms for tomorrow afternoon and evening. So as far as any high school football games, I don't think it's going to be a washout, but definitely make sure you're checking in on the First Alert weather app. Temperatures though in the 80s here through Labor Day, and we may even see some 60s in the mornings. Not too bad. Notice though what happens as we get into next week. We begin to see more 90s back in the forecast. So it does look like we're eventually going to be seeing some heat building in next week. Right now the humidity doesn't look too bad, so I think we would much rather deal with a dry heat, but we'll be keeping you updated on that. But hey, you may not even gonna be here for Labor Day, for the holiday weekend. Many of you will be spending Labor Day down by the water. Mickey Ferguson joins us now for his beach forecast.
Hey, let's take a look at your Gulf Beach forecast. You know, the Labor Day weekend, as you heard, it's not looking too shabby here at home. And we do have a moderate risk, let me do that over. Moderate riptide. That's what I'm trying to say. I couldn't say it. I don't know why. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, things are looking pretty good here at home for Labor Day weekend, but let's visit the beach down there at the Gulf Coast. There is a moderate rip current threat, 88-degree Gulf water temperature, and we just had that tropical system come through the Gulf due to these extremely warm temperatures on the waters there. They also have the purple flags a-flying for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for Labor Day weekend. What that typically means is we've got some jellyfish out there, but marine life is apparent there at the beaches there for the Gulf Coast, and it looks like there's a decent chance of rain. That same stalled frontal boundary that kind of steered Idalia away from us is still stalled down there at the coast, and that's going to bring about some scattered showers and thunderstorms for Friday and Saturday as you head to the beaches. Your Gulf Coast heat index values take us into the 90s. And it shouldn't be too hot down there, but there is a good chance of getting wet. We're talking 2 inches, maybe 3 inches towards Pensacola. So the Florida Panhandle looks like it's going to be inundated with showers and thunderstorms. A good 90% chance for tomorrow going into Saturday. We get into Sunday and Monday. You know, you might want to reconsider. Maybe kind of hang out here at home. If you're headed to the mountains, it looks all right. We have sunshine expected for Saturday and Sunday. Look at these cool temperatures for the Smoky Mountains, mid 80-degree readings. Now, I love the beach, but this might be a time when you consider, hey, maybe we ought to travel north instead of south for Labor Day weekend. Wherever you go, just take us with you. The First Alert weather app is a handy-dandy tool to check the weather when you are on the go and snap some pictures of your vacation. Send it to us. We might be able to feature it right here on Weather Extra.
Oh, in case you didn't know, Mickey majored in theater in college. Kindred spirits. Well, were you one of the millions of people who saw the super blue moon? This is the view as the moon reached its peak last night. If you missed it, it will still be visible through Friday morning. Granted, we got some clouds moving in, but we won't worry about that. Saturn also made its brightest appearance of the year last night. The next big celestial event will be the harvest moon on September 29th. Tania?
All right, Lauren, well, you know, here on Weather Extra, you already talked about it earlier. We always like to check in with some of our fur friends and our animal friends. It was a bittersweet birthday for a beloved panda at the Smithsonian National Museum in Washington, D.C. Oh, look at us, so cute. TN celebrated his last birthday in the United States this week. We miss you already. He turned 26. He's older than me, Lauren. And zookeepers gifted him with a panda-friendly fruitsicle cake with fruit, sweet potatoes, carrots, and of course, bamboo. Oh, you need to share, buddy. Soon, Tian and Mei Sheng and their cub will head back to China as a part of an agreement made with a Chinese conservation group. Visitors have until December to say goodbye. We miss you. So cute.
We do, and I'm real concerned that Panda's older than Tania. I think it's time for me to start wearing a retinol cream. Well, a bull terrier is reunited with his family after more than 2 years of being lost. We love a good, happy ending. Panda was recently found, and the dog's name is Panda, to clarify. We're not talking about the panda in the last story. Panda was recently found at an animal shelter in Kansas, 500 miles from home. The shelter was able to find his owners through his microchip. The owners say he and the other dog, Nala, left home one day, but only Nala returned. The family had no idea where he was the whole time or how he ended up in Kansas. Once Panda was reunited with his family, he brightened right up. Oh my goodness. Between that panda and the actual panda, I'm all in my feels for tonight. Well, before we close out Weather Extra this evening, even though we have seen so much devastation in the wake of Idalia, we have also seen some budding meteorologists. Here's Janiah White from my hometown in Valdosta giving viewers an update on the conditions during Hurricane Idalia.
This is Janiah White reporting live here in the northeast part of Lowndes County, Georgia. Reporting live here with Hurricane Idalia. Lowndes County right now is feeling the wrath of this powerful hurricane with wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour and extreme catastrophic flooding, as you can see here, with debris flying everywhere. Trees and power lines are falling, and many people are here without power. And that is all for today.
Well, Tania, did you see that?
No.
Janiah's coming.
Ooh.
Like, we gotta make sure we have some job security.
Lessons, because
yes.
she is good.
She is a natural. My friend in Valdosta sent that in. That is her niece, and she said she goes to Valdosta High School, go Wildcats. So she's in high school. I'm like, I'm like, she's a lot lot more.
She knew the wind speeds. Yes. Girl, check. You're hired. Come on in.
I know. I'm like, Tania, we need to be her agent.
Yes.
I think.
Let's sign her. Come on.
Let's do it.
We'll be meeting you this weekend in Valdosta, girl.
We will. We'll bring y'all some bottled water too. So thank you so much for that report there, Janiah. In the meantime, still keeping our thoughts and prayers with everyone who's been affected by Idalia.
Absolutely, yeah. We've seen all these footage and the devastation there. So much cleanup has to happen from this day moving forward. So I know your mom's still out of power at this current moment, so that's already tough. The heat.
And that's the rough thing, here we've been like, oh, it feels so good outside. They still have all that tropical moisture lingering, so it feels like temperatures were in the triple digits today. I had an old neighbor say that a lot of people in town had actually gone to the hospital just so they could get some AC.
Wow.
Not actually just going to sit in the lobby because it's that bad waiting for power.
Yeah, so our prayers are out with them, and I think you said you might be going home this weekend,
maybe
possibly.
See if I can go home to help out. So we'll see what we can do. But in the meantime, as far as our local forecast, tune in with Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt tonight after football on WBRC Fox 6 News. And don't forget, Tania, what's happening on September 11th?
Weather Extra on TV.
It's happening. So we will see you all live on TV. In the meantime, thanks for bearing with us on your streaming channels. Have a safe and happy Thursday
evening.
Ah!